How's it going, everyone? This is Mr. Morales. Today I'm going to show you how to create your first Visual Basic program. Uh, we're going to be using Visual Basic. It's a programming language. But first I want to show you what are the different types of programs that you can do. Um, as you can see, we have a little calculator program. Somebody had to create this. We have several buttons. We have some type of display here. We have a little menu. We have the title of the program. Someone had to create this and they used a computer programming language to do this. Now we're going to do something similar. We're going to create a Hello World program. Now this is a very famous program used by, this is probably the first program that all programmers create. All famous programmers like Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg, I'm pretty sure they created the Hello World program. Remember Mark Zuckerberg, creator of Facebook. So all these guys, I'm pretty sure started with the Hello World program. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is let's locate Visual Studio. So we go down to our Start button. Let's type in Visual Studio in our search. I'm using Visual Studio 2013. There's a bunch of different versions, so make sure you're using the correct version. Alright, so first thing we want to do, and actually before we even start messing with Visual Studio, I forgot one step. Let's minimize this. Let's create a folder on the desktop. Right click on the desktop, go to New, Folder, and let's call it VB, standing for Visual Basic. I'm using uppercase, no spaces. Okay, now let's go back to Visual Studio. Now first thing I want to do is I want to go to Tools, Options, and in this window I want to scroll down to Projects and Solutions. I click on Projects and Solutions. On the right hand side, under Project Locations, I'm going to click on the little button with three dots. I'm going to go to the desktop and I'm going to choose that the VB folder. Okay, I'm going to choose that folder, or I double click it. Okay, I click select. So I want to make sure that I see under my projects location, I see that I'm on the desktop and then I'm choosing the VB folder. All these other template location, I don't really care for those. The other thing I want to do is I want to make sure you check mark all the boxes except for the last two. Okay, once you do that, we click OK. This is a very important step, by the way. If you do this wrong, your program is not going to work. Let's click OK. Alright, next step, what we want to do is we want to go to File. Let's go to New Project. And here, now this is a very important step too. We want to make sure we are choosing, under Templates, we're choosing Visual Basic. Okay, we just click on this one time, okay? Don't double click. If you double click, you're going to mess it up. We just click on this one time, right? Because this is the Windows Forms application. We want to make sure that these two items are selected. Okay, now under the name, this is where we're going to change the name. Let's change the name to your last name, followed by your first name, followed by program A. Okay, notice that the name and the solution name are going to be the same. That's fine. Notice the location, confirm, verify that it's the desktop under that VB folder that we created, and also verify that it's check marked. Create directory for solution is check marked, the little box. Once everything's good, then we click OK. Let's let it run here. It may take a while. Okay, now that it's up, we want to verify a few other items before we begin. All the way to the left hand side, we want to make sure the toolbox is activated. So it might look like this, and you may see the toolbox there, but it's not activated. What you want to do is you want to click on that. You want to pin it down. by clicking on the little pin there, bam. And if in case it looks like this, you want to collapse common controls. These are the ones we're going to be using the most. Okay, so in case it's not even there, what you want to do is you want to go to view. So I'm going to close it. So it's not even there. I go to view, and then I go to toolbox, and there it is. Okay. On the right hand side, let's look the Solution Explorer window. You don't really have to have this. In case you do, that's fine. In case you don't, then let's not worry about it much. Let's take a look at the bottom here, the Properties window. We do need to have this. This is a must. So in case it's not there, we need to go. I believe it's under View. Yes, it is. Good. View, Properties window, and there it is. Okay, same thing. Make sure to pin it down. If it's somewhere else, you want to click and drag, and you want to either click on the, let's see what's going to be best here. Yeah, we'll click on the bottom, as you can see, and then I always like to expand it, make sure that I could see a lot of the properties. Now, what I like to do also is activate the alphabetical, so I know that I get to see the properties alphabetically. Okay, now I could scroll up and I see all the different properties. In case you don't see the properties, you want to click on your form one time, and then all of the properties should be activated in the form. Okay, great. So here we are. Next thing we want to do is let's take a look at our form. As you can see, it's already taking some small shape. We have a little title there. We have the minimize, maximize, and the close button. So it kind of looks already, starting to look already like a little program. Now we need to make it more of a program and add some controls. So we're going to start by first of all taking a look at our program. Let's change the name of our form. So let's go all the way to the right under the properties window, and the name of our form is called form 1. Let's change that, and let's call it main form, because this is going to be our main form. And notice what I'm doing, I'm make the name exactly like this. I have no spaces. Spaces are bad, okay, when it comes to names and such. I capitalize the M, I capitalize the F. Okay, this is very important. Now, this is just the name of the form. We'll see it in code. Okay, now let's scroll down and let's change the text property. Now the text property of the form is going to be this little caption, the title. So let's call this Hello World, because this is going to be our Hello World program. Very famous program. You talk to programmers, they know exactly what you're talking about when you talk about the Hello World program. Okay. Next thing, let's click on our form one time and notice how the caption changes. It's Hello World now. It says there. Fantastic, easy. Next thing we want to do on the left hand side, we're going to start adding some of our controls. So I'm going to click and drag a label control, and I put it uh, on my canvas, my form. Now notice how the label is selected. It's called label 1. I don't really care for the name of this one. I'm going to leave the name as label 1. I only like changing the names of my controls if I'm going to use them in code. I'm not going to use that one in code, so I really don't care. But what I do care about is the text property. I want to change the text property to message. So I'm going to type message and then a colon. I press enter, and there it shows message on my label there. Perfect. Nice. Now what I want to do is let's move this here just so you can see it closer. Okay, now remember, I can also increase the width of my form to as big as I want. I mean, so you have a lot of flexibility as how you want to do that. Now what I want to do is I want to create another label. So I click and drag another label onto the form. Now this one's called label 2. I want to change the name let's change the name to message label, or let's call it display label. How's that? Display label. So now this time I'm using lowercase d. I'm typing the whole word display, no spaces, and then I leave the label. So we're going to leave it as display label. And now I'm going to scroll down to the text property. Oh, actually, before I do that, we change the name of that. Let's look for auto size. There we go, auto size. Let's change that to false. Okay, and next one, border style. Let's change that to fixed single. Okay, so we've got to make sure to do those two. Change those two properties. I scroll down. Let's take a look at the text property, and now I'm going to erase the text property. I'll press enter on the keyboard, and bam, there's my label. Now I can increase the width of my label, right? Make it look nice, nicer. It already looks nice. We're just gonna make it look nicer. So now here's my label. So now this is where the message is gonna go. So as you can see, it says message here, and the message will show up on our display label. Now I want to add some buttons. Let's click and drag some buttons here. Okay, I'm gonna add 3 buttons. Alright, click and drag 3 buttons. Okay, I like to align the buttons. As you can see, you have the blue and purple lines that help you align everything closely together. And as long as we get, we try to eye it, try to make some space, enough space there. Okay, so what I want to do is the first button is going to be called my show. It's going to be called show, the show button. The second button, the first button is show button, second button is clear button, third button is exit button. Remember, you just want to click on things once. You don't want to double click on things. You get too crazy with the mouse, you're going to start getting errors. As a matter of fact, in case you do double click on a mouse, you're going to end up getting the code, and don't get scared. Everything's okay, but what you want to do in case you get this error, if you get this code, you want to make sure to keep public class main form, keep end class. You want to keep end class, you want to keep public class main form, you want to delete everything else here, like so. We press backspace. Okay, good. Now we go back to our, you can either close it, let's close it, or you can just click back to your form 1. Alright, so here we are, we're back in our program. So what we want to do is change some of the properties of these buttons. So I click on button 1. I'm going to call this the show button, so the name is going to be called show button. Okay, for button 2, the name is going to be clear button, and notice how I do it, right? I have no spaces, use the same punctuation. Third button is called exit button, like that. And now let's change the names. The text property, let's scroll down. I have button 1 selected. The text property, we're gonna call it show. Click on the next one. Text property for button 2, we erase that, we call it clear. Text property for button 3, let's call it exit. Bam, there we go. Very, very good, very nice. I can kind of change it up here a little bit. So here's what's going to happen in our Hello World program. I'm going to click the show button. What I want to do is click the show button, and on the display label there's a message is going to show up. I click the clear button, the display label erases, no text there. I click the exit button, it closes the program. So that's my goal, that's what I want to do. I need to create the code that will accomplish this. How do I do that? Let's go to the view, let's go to view, code. Okay, so let's move our properties window out of the way. So it should look like this, okay? It should look like this. Erase everything else. Make sure to keep the public class, main form, and keep the end class. Okay, so now what I want to do is let's start with the exit button. So here where it says main form, I want to click on the little down arrow next to main form, and I'm going to choose exit button. Okay, under the declarations, I click on the little down arrow and I'm going to choose click. So basically what I'm doing is I will be programming the event click for the exit button. So as you can see, it created some code here for me, and the cursor is in between those lines of code, and I'm going to be typing in the code to close the program. The code is me or me dot, and as you can see, I get like a little box that comes up. This kind of gives me suggestions as to what all the different things I could do with the me object. So I'm going to type close, and as soon as I could see the close there, I could double click or I could press tab on the keyboard, and there it is. I press enter, and there it adds the parentheses. That's fine, no problem. Okay, next thing we want to do is let's program the clear button. So I click on the first drop down, and I'm going to choose clear button. On the right hand side under declarations, let's choose click, and I get my code again. So now I'm going to program the clear button. So here, whenever you do programming, you need to remember that things work having to do with objects. So this is my object. This is a display label. As you can see, this is my display label. um, and what I want to do is modify the text property of the display label. So how do I do that? That's what I want to do. So I start by typing in display, and as you can see, it comes up, it recognizes it as an object. Display label dot, the property is text, so I can start typing it. I see it there. I press tab. Display label dot text. I like giving a space equals space, and I type double quotation marks. Okay, and I don't type anything inside the quotation marks. As a matter of fact, I always like to type a little space in there. Okay, so now this is done. Display label dot text is equal to nothing. So nothing. It's gonna get erased. Okay, this is what happens. Okay, now last one that I want to do is I want to type. Let's go to which one do we need? We need the show button, right? So let's click on show button. On the right hand side, let's go to click, and let's program the show button. So it's the same concept. Okay, I click on the show button, a little message is going to come up. So a message is going to come up on the display label. So I start typing the display label, and there it is, right? Display label dot text equals, and in quotation marks, I'm going to type in my message. Hello world. My name is Mr. Morales. And that's my message. So you type your name, you say hello world, you type your own name there. And you can even give me a little message there just to say hello or something. And let's save. We want to save periodically, so I click save all. Okay. Now let's run our program. Let's make sure it works. Maybe it doesn't even work. So let's click on the start button here. Let's see if it works. Here it comes up. It says hello world. Okay. I click on the show button. Hello world, my name is Mr. Morales. Awesome, it works. I click on clear button. disappears. Click exit button. Okay, I could play around with this all day there. Click exit. Bam, my little program works. Fantastic. I'm done. I'm done. This is the Hello World program. Very famous program. Okay, so now that I'm finished with my program, I need to submit my work, or I can, keep my little program. Um, Let me show you how to submit your work. I'm gonna go to Blackboard here. I'm gonna browse the computer for the program. Let's go to the desktop. Let's go to our VB folder. And notice inside the VB folder, we have another folder, right? With your last name, first name, program A. We don't ever want to have spaces in our program names. Okay, I double click. So I get another folder and then I get another file. I don't want that. I double click the first folder and I keep double clicking the first folder. Bin, debug, and it should be the first file, and it should have your last name followed by first name followed by program a.exe. It's an executable file. I click on that, or I double click on that, whatever you want. Click open, and this is the file you want to attach. Okay, go ahead and submit that, and you're done with the program. Just for um, curiosity purposes, if I go to my VB folder, I should have the program A file, and I get a bunch of different files. I mean, this is a very interesting program. And here I have my executable file, and this is our little program, so I know it works there. Okay, so that's the file you want to submit. Thanks for watching. This is the Hello World program, program A. Take care. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.